Okay, so today is Wednesday, November 7th. We're doing lesson 48 on page 250 in your book, dealing with subtracting mixed numbers with regrouping. Your book shows you a way to do it that I am not going to show you because it's not a way that you can practically do the math. It works great for small numbers. At your own leisure, you can look on page 250 and we can look at it together. I'm just not going to draw it for you. I did it for the girls this morning, but it really proved to be ineffective as a learning tool because you're just not going to be able to do math problems that way. But it has this idea of you have 5 circles, and they're supposed to be like pizza pies or cakes or pies or whatever. And there's 4 complete pies, and then there's one pie cut up into 6 pieces, and 1/6 of that pie remains. So there's 4 and 1/6 pieces of pie, and then the baker takes away, I believe, 1 and 2/6 pieces of pie. How many pies are left over? So the written problem is really this problem here. The problem ends up being, let me make this a little bit smaller. The problem ends up being, let me change a couple things here. 4 and 1/6. Oh wow, I don't like that at all. Hang on. 4, a little bit bigger, and 1/6 minus 1 and 2/6. This becomes our problem. And you can do it. You can draw a diagram with the pies, and it really does make sense to see it that way. But you can't. You just simply can't do most of the math that way with making pies or different images. So we'll go back to that if you guys struggle with this. But let me try to cut that out. It's in the book. You can look at it. But let me cut that out and just go right to the math with it and see how you guys do with this. So here's our idea. Obviously, if we were doing this problem, you could in fact subtract 1 from 4 and get 3. You with me on that? Okay, but we can't subtract 2/6 from 1/6, can we? This number up on top, just like if this were a 7 and this were an 8, and we were trying to subtract 8 from 7, we can't do that, can we? Okay, so we have to do something. Remember, we borrow. We borrow from the next column to make that 7 a 17. Well, we do the same thing here, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to borrow from that 4, and we're going to make it a 3, okay? Now, we can't just go ahead and add 1 to this one and make it 11. What we have to do is find some way of being able to give this fraction the number it needs in the numerator so it can be subtracted from the fraction that's down below. All right, so remember we have a unit of 1 that we have basically lost. It's up here like in cyberspace somewhere, just floating around. We haven't assigned it to anything. You understand what I'm saying? We had a 4, we turned it into a 3, so we're minus 1 here. We have to do something with that 1. We got to bring it back into the problem. And the way that we do that so we can add to this fraction is we say that 6 over 6 is equal to 1, isn't it? So we're going to add to this 3 6 over 6, which is the same thing as 1. Would you agree? So I brought the 1 back into the mix, didn't I? So I brought it from cyberspace, brought it back in, and there it is now back into the problem. Now I'm also going to add to that the 1/6 that I have, because I got to include that in my problem too. So it's going to come over here, and I'm going to have plus 1/6. And all of this here is going to be subtracted, is going to have 1 and 2/6 subtracted from it. Now, you see a problem here, obviously. I can't take these 3 individual numbers and somehow subtract 1 and 2/6 for them. So I got to take, what I have to do is take these 3 numbers and bring them all together again. These 3 numbers here, got to bring them all together again. Okay, and the way I do that is by adding them up. I have 3. Let me change my color here. I'll go to pink. So now with all this mess that I created, I now have 3 still from right here, right? I have my 3, but I have 6 over 6 plus 1 over 6. And what's 6 6 plus 1 6? Anybody? Anybody? Everybody. 6 6 is 7 6. Okay, it's 3 and 7 6. And then I'm going to subtract from that my 1 and 2 6. And guess what? Now I can do it, can't I? I can subtract 2 from 7 and get 5 6. Would you agree? And I can subtract 1 from 3 and get 2. And there is my answer. 2 and 5. So when I subtract 1 and 2 6 from 4 and 1 6, I in fact will get 2 and 5 6. Now, what can I do to make sure that this is correct? What operation can I do, Wyatt? I can do addition. Watch what I can do, guys. I could take my, let me scroll up here just for a minute. Hang on, let me scroll up. Not too much. A little bit. Okay, I can take my 2 and 5 6. Hang on, let me erase a little bit here. Let me do it right here. I can take my 2 and 5 6 that I had right here, and I can take my original part of the problem, which should be the subtrahend right here, the 1 and 2 6. I can add those together like Wyatt said, and what should it give me? It should give me my minuend in my original problem, right? And guess what? 5 6 plus 2 6 is 7 6. 2 plus 1 is 3. Does 3 and 7 6 the same thing as 4 and 1 6? Doesn't look the same. But wait a minute. I can turn this into a mixed number, right? I get 1 and 1 6. So I can add 3 plus 1 and 1 6, and I get 4 and 1 6, same number I started with. Also, guys, if I didn't want to do that, I can take 6 times 3 is 18, plus 7 is 25, and get 25 6. Would you agree? I can do the same thing up here. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25, 25 6. Make sense? Okay, pretty simple. Are we okay with that? Anybody confused? Anybody lost? Not a clue. I don't know. Hey, Dr. Kropchik, I have no idea what just happened. We're all okay? So if I gave you 10 questions like this right now, you'd get them all right. Huh? 100 questions. Okay, you would. All right. Huh? No, I don't want you to tell anybody anything. You're good, buddy. All right, well, that's good. I'm glad you feel confident with that. I'm going to delete this out, and we're going to go to our example problem here. And here is our example problem. We're going to have 5 and 1/3 minus 2 and 2/3. And we're looking for an answer. Now, obviously, we know that we can't subtract 2 from 1. So, Houston, we have a problem, right? Houston, we have a problem. We gotta convert this number up here. We gotta convert this number here into a number that is manageable, that we can work with to make it work with this number below. Would you agree? All right, Skylar, tell me what is the first thing I would want to do. I'm going to cross the 5 out, make it a 4. I like it. Well, I'm not converting 1/3 into 3 over 3. You're right, I'm taking a 3 over 3 to bring the 1 back from the 5 that I borrowed. Wait, what about, where does 1/3 go? I got to do something with that. Yeah, I add it to the 3/3, right? And then I'm going to bring, now you're saying bring over the 2 and 2/3? So now I'm going to subtract 4 plus 3/3 plus 1/3 from, I'm going to subtract from that 2 and 2/3, right? But I can't do this because all these numbers need to become one number, right? So you're saying I should have 4 that I bring over, right? And then add the 3/3 and 1/3 to get 4/3. And I'm going to subtract, bring my 2 2/3 over. And now I'm ready to subtract, right? And when I do that, I can subtract 4 from 2 and get 2/3. I can subtract 2 from 4 and get 2/3. So I have 2 2/3. So now, here's the deal, right, guys? Here's what should happen if Skylar is correct. I subtracted here. This was a subtraction problem, right? I subtracted these two numbers, minuend, subtrahend, and got the difference. But now if I turn this into an addition problem and do it reverse, and I have a addend and an addend, it should become my sum. This should become, the minuend should become my sum, right? What's 2 and 2? 4. Okay, so that turns into a 4. The magic of color. And then what's 2/3 plus 2/3? 4/3. What do you know? It worked out, didn't it? See how easy that is? Anybody have any problems with that? Peter, can you do something like what? On the board? Like what? What do you want to do on the board? Oh, I see. Okay. Well, let's hold. No, no, no. I didn't say you can do that. I said I see or something. I don't even know what I said. Listen, guys. Right now we're doing math. We're not worried about what the girls wrote up on the board. Okay. So let's stay focused. Huh? It's hard to say. I mean, I don't have a favorite class. I like all my classes. There's different things I like about each class, and there's things I don't like about each class probably. But I don't have a favorite. Listen. Let's do math. Okay. I feel like I'm running for political office here. Let's just. That's over. We're all stuck with Oslava again for another 4 years. Yeah. All right, guys. Here we go. Um, Matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to end the lesson for today, and and then we're just going to do some practice problems on the board. But we're done with our lesson for today. Look it over. Your homework tonight is practice set A through F on page 251 and 252. Written practice 1 through 30. Unless you're exempt, which I don't think anybody is. Oh, maybe a couple of you are. Okay, my bad. All right, see you tomorrow. Lesson's over.